Going on, guys? Welcome back. And today I'm gonna be going through part 2 of my um Lego Movie 2 Journey to the Lego Movie 2 series. And today I'm gonna be discussing the Lego Batman movie. It came out in 2017, February of 2017, that is. And I think this movie is really great. Actually, I think it's probably better than any of the DCU films thus far. And I don't really I don't have a script for this. I don't have like this isn't a scripted review. This is just kind of me building up to the Lego Movie 2, discussing my thoughts on each film. I know I didn't have an episode last Monday because this is supposed to be every Monday, and I miscounted. It wasn't 4 weeks. It was actually 5 weeks. So that kind of worked out. So I will still have the bonus review. Next week's gonna be the Lego Ninjago movie, and the week after that will be a surprise review. So anyway, so getting into my thoughts on this film, I think this is a really great movie. I think the concept that they came up with of Batman, kind of being worried about losing his like another family, and that being what he's afraid of, I think is a really interesting concept and isn't something they've touched on in a lot of other Batman media. Maybe in the comics, but not in other Batman media, in the films and such that I've seen. So I like that idea. I like that concept. Um, and I think it's just a really fun movie overall. Like just like the Lego Movie, it has really clever humor, and yeah, I just think it's really funny. I like that they introduced a lot of the other villains from pop culture, in there. They have like Voldemort, Sauron, all those characters. It's a great bunch of characters in there. Um, and yeah, so I really enjoy the Lego Batman movie, and I think Joker's actually this is a really good interpretation of the Joker. Zach Galifianakis, I believe that's his name. Um, he played Humpty Dumpty in the Puss in Boots movie. Um, just really I don't know why I bring that up, but he did play him in that movie, and it's a really good interpretation of the Joker. He's actually like I think he's actually probably better than any of the DCEU villains thus far. I mean, I don't think it's better than Wonder Woman or Aquaman in terms of the films in the DCU, but the villain is much better, even than Ares or Orm or Black Manta. Those villains are still kind of crappy. Um, so yeah, it has, like I say, with the Lego Movie, it still has some of the kind of butt humor and all that kind of stuff. It never goes low as like a fart joke or anything. Um, and it's once again just as a fan of Lego stop motion animation, this film is just really great. I've taken a lot of inspiration from it, and like this is something I meant to mention in my Lego Movie review 2 weeks ago. Is like the way they use different pieces to emulate kind of effects. Like everything in it is like made to look like Legos. Like the water, such elements as like blasts and stuff. Like even like characters when their hair is blowing or something, their hairpiece changes. Like at one point, I actually noticed that when Joker like kind of attacks or when he shows up at like the gala where Barbara's becoming the new commissioner, when she like yells at him through like the megaphone, like his hairpiece changes to the Kai hairpiece from the Ninjago movie. And I find that really interesting because that's the first time they actually showed that hairpiece, um, before they even used it in the actual Lego Ninjago movie sets. And then his hair changes to like the Doc Brown hairpiece. Yeah, they just use a lot of clever elements like that. So they use existing Lego elements to emulate certain effects, like when Joker's blasting off in his um, balloon jetpack. You can see like they use like a hook piece as like one of the flames coming out. They just use great Lego elements to emulate certain effects, and like just as a fan of stop motion, it's like there's so many little details in the animation that's just spectacular. Um, there's just like tons of little things in the background and just in the forefront that you won't notice. And like it's a similar thing with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's a movie that would not work as live action, but like as an animated movie, this works really well. And it's like as the character of Batman goes through a very relatable journey, and when Phyllis comes down, she's like, you're the first person that I've seen who's taken a look at themselves and changed. And I think that's really a really good message that not just kids but people in general can take away from this film, which is, you can change. Even you can change your ways, even if you feel like you can't. Um, and it's just that Batman feels that the way that like since his family died, he doesn't really know how to raise a child, and he thinks the way to like protect his family is to push them away, and you know, it's very mature actually. Like, I rewatched this movie today. I'm filming this on Sunday, but I'll be posting this on Monday because that's when I'm posting these videos. But rewatching it today, I was trying to look at it from a critical and like kind of analytical point of view as like a film fan, and wanting to become like a director, or like because I want to go to film school and all that. So those are like my aspirations, and it's really solid. Like it's like got a really mature message. Rewatching it, it's got the message in it is actually really mature, and there's a lot of jokes the kids won't get. Um, that even I think younger kids won't get, and I think the humor is even better in this than the Lego Movie. And it's like, you know, people aren't gonna like this if they aren't a fan of the kind of phoretic, energetic kind of personality and sense that the Lego Movie gives off. Like, my sister personally was not a fan of the Lego Movie, but she actually liked the Lego Ninjago movie, and I was surprised about that because, you know, it's a very similar film with that kind of phoretic energy throughout it. And I think that's the same with this film. And people are saying maybe there's too many jokes. I don't really think that way. Like, Chris Stuckman, I'm a big fan of his film reviews. But he says at one point, and this is something that I agree with, is Batman says, "Who am I working with?" Like, when Barbara Gordon is saying that he needs to kind of work together with people. And he's like, "Who are we working with? Suicide Squad?" And then 1 second later, he says, "That's a terrible idea to have a group of villains." So, you know, that's kind of really weird. Like, there's a little bit of inconsistency with the jokes. Um, so yeah, there's a little bit of inconsistency with the jokes, in the film itself. Uh, but it doesn't really bother me that much. But there is some inconsistency. But that's like the only point where there's inconsistency with the jokes, if I actually think about it. There's one joke that I don't know why I find it funny, and this is like I know all of us have this kind of thing where if we're watching a film, there's one joke that just kind of gets us, like above all the other jokes for some reason, just tickles our funny bone for some weird reason. And for me in this film, it was I don't know why I laughed at this joke, but when I heard it today, I just could not stop laughing. It's when Batman breaks into Arkham and then he's like, "Hello, Joker," and then Joker's like, "I'ma stay, Batman," and then Robin's like, "I'ma stay," and then Batman's just like, "Gross." I don't know why. That just makes me laugh so much. I think it's the line delivery from Will Arnett where he's just like, "Gross." I don't. That joke just gets me. And it just gets me really well. I love that joke so much. There's a lot of great humor like that in here. There's some weird things in this movie though, and it's something about kind of the timeline of these films is that if this film is based after the Lego Movie, which it is, because they talk about the if the city splits apart, then you will fall into the abyss, and that's kind of a reference to, that real people are playing with it, and it's like as if the table that they're on, like he says, this city is built on a bunch of flimsy wooden planks. That's kind of a reference to a table that the Lego would be on. So that's another kind of reference to the real life stuff. But what was I gonna say? They say like you'll fall into the eternal abyss of nothingness from the first Lego movie, and it shows Emmett falling into it. But if that means this would be after the Lego movie, because that's why Batman would be kind of into Barbara's, because like he's broken up with Wildstyle already, or let Emmett be with Wildstyle. But the thing is, in the Lego Movie 2 trailer, it shows the beginning of the film picks up right after the first one, and Emma's trying to make a peace offering with the Duplo invaders. But if this movie's after that, then Batman's been affected by the desolate attack of the Duplo invaders when Lego Movie 2 is going to be kind of Mad Max style 5 years after the first one, which is funny because in real time it has been 5 years since the first film came out. I think they're trying to go for that, by the way, because I think that Finn's sister has gotten older. But then, like, if this movie is after the Lego Movie, then everything would be destroyed, and it would be like the desolate wasteland that is in the Lego Movie 2. Let me know if there's something I missed, but I'm pretty sure that's a timeline issue. So if they just ignored that reference to the Lego Movie, then this wouldn't have been an issue. But like actually thinking about it, it's an issue. So that's a little bit of an inconsistency. Another inconsistency. I'm getting into my problems now. is that, like, for some reason, like, the villains, the actual Batman Rogues Gallery villains join up with Batman at the end, but then when Joker's, like, on the other side of the city that's breaking apart, there's a bunch of villains standing with him, and they look as if they're standing with him on his side, but they just switch sides to Batman. Like, that's one part that like, they don't actually say that they're with Joker, but, like, that's one part that I really don't get. But that's not really an issue overall. And then another thing, this is a personal thing that rubs me the wrong way. I just don't like the way they treat Sauron in this movie. Sauron. Joker's like, hey, it's Sauron. It's Sauron. As a Lord of the Rings Middle-earth fan, it's Sauron, not Sauron. Ugh. That just makes me so mad. And he shoots lava out of his eye. Come on. Like, why does Sauron shoot lava out of his eye? That's just so dumb. And there's some funny things, like him being basically like a screen for Joker, like over Gotham City. Like, that's kind of funny. Like, there's some good jokes like that where he's like scanning the area, and then when Godzilla blasts him, he's like, my eyes. So there's some good humor with Sauron, but there's just some parts where I don't like the way they treat him. Like, at one point he's like, shakalaka-loo or something, and I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. And then, like, I don't like the way they treat Voldemort either. Like, he just flies around and he's like, magic! And I'm like, he sounds like Benny from the Lego movie when he's like, spaceship! But instead he's like, magic! You know, and it's just really weird. And he's like, you are a fish, you are a crab. And I'm like, no, it would be an actual spell to turn them into a frog and a crab. Like, he says Accio a lot, and I'm like, Voldemort, like, I don't remember a single time in the films or in the books when Voldemort actually used the spell Accio. But for some reason in this movie, it's like his favorite spell. I don't know why. It's just something about these other franchises where it seems like they don't pay attention at all to the actual, like, original, like, lore or, like, the original, like, franchises and stories where these villains came from. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like, I haven't seen Godzilla and King Kong, so I don't have a preference for those. But just with Voldemort and Sauron, it just annoys me. And then with Voldemort, it's another weird thing about Voldemort is they have Ralph Fiennes in this film already. He's Alfred. Ralph Fiennes voices Alfred, but they also have Voldemort in this film. And if you didn't know, Ralph Fiennes plays Voldemort in the Harry Potter films. Why didn't they just get Ralph Fiennes to voice Voldemort? It's just something weird. I don't know why they didn't do that. So yeah, I just don't know why they did that. It's just kind of weird. So that's kind of it for my issues with the film. I think this is a really good film overall. There's some weird parts. Like, I noticed looking at it from, like, an analytical standpoint while I was rewatching it today. I noticed when he lands in the Phantom Zone and he scares Phyllis just like the Joker did. Phyllis is the brick. I'm pointing to the brick right here. The talking lady brick. He says, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," and it's he says it in the exact same way when he kicks Alfred into the piano. So I think they just, like, used the same line. They just copy and pasted the same line into that sequence. I think that's what they did. I don't know why, but I think that's what they did. So there's some lazy things like that. But there's more lazy stuff like that, like reusing audio clips and the shots from, like, scenes from 5 minutes earlier when we get to the Lego Ninjago movie, because there's a lot more of that kind of laziness going on in that film. But I just think the Lego Batman movie is a really good movie. It's a good movie in general. It's probably one of the best DC movies of recent years, one of the best Batman movies of recent years. It's very self-aware in terms of its humor. It's just the Lego Batman movie. It's a really good film, and yeah, I'm enjoying rewatching this because I think in terms of like the films themselves, I think that, like, in the Lego movie films, like I said, the animation is fantastic, and I'll get into this in the Ninjago movie video. But I think that the Ninjago movie, I enjoy rewatching it more. I think that I like rewatching the Lego Ninjago movie more, but I think this movie's better. So when I get to my ranking of all the Lego movies once the Lego Movie 2 comes out, you'll hear more about that, but I think I enjoy watching that movie more. I'll have to wait and see until I rewatch it again next week for next week's video for the re-review of the Lego Ninjago movie. But I think I enjoy rewatching that more, but I think this film is better. It has a much better message. It has a mature message, you know, with Batman and trying to push his family away because he thinks that's the way he can protect them. It's very mature and it's very relatable and it's very well done, I think. So yeah, it's just Lego Batman movie. It's a great film. It has some issues though, like I've talked about. So I don't think it's quite as solid as the first Lego movie, but I think in some cases the message of this film might be better than the Lego movie. I'm sorry, but in some cases I think this movie's better than the Lego movie. I think the ending of this film is better than the Lego movie, and they have to, at the end of all the Lego movies, they have to have one scene that really tugs at your heartstrings, where there's some emotional moment at the end. In this movie, it's when Batman is about to head off to the Phantom Zone, and in the Ninjago movie, it's when Lloyd talks to Meowthra. In the first Lego movie, it's when Emmett talks to Lord Business. Oh man, they just tug at your heartstrings so hard. Oh, um, it's really emotional in this film when he's about to head off and he finally kind of accepts his family, and he says, you know, he's worried about losing his family, and then in the end he says, losing family is part of life. Losing people is part of life, and that's true, and it's sad, but it's true. And he says a lot of people taught me that, and he says my new family taught me that, because his old family didn't have the time to, you know. So it's just a really great movie. Batman has a great arc coming to the realization of you know, he has to just kind of be himself and be who he is with his family, and to accept his family and not push them away to protect them, because that's what his greatest fear is, not snake clowns. But yeah, you guys let me know what you thought of the Lego Batman movie. I know some of you might not be the biggest fan of it, but I think it's a really solid movie in general. Not just like a fun Lego movie for kids. It has some really mature themes in it. Rewatching it as an older person, even though it's only been like 2 years since I saw it in theaters, and I have seen it a lot since then. But rewatching on this viewing, like looking at it from an analytical perspective, I think it's a really good movie. So I'm gonna give the Lego Batman movie. It's really hard to decide between an A minus and a B plus for this one. Ah, man, but I think I'm gonna give it an A minus. I'll let you know in like the Lego Ninjago movie review or in my ranking video if my rating has changed for this movie. But I'm gonna give it an A minus. That's where I stand right now. So let me know what you think of the Lego Batman movie. Do you think it's better than the Lego movie? Do you think it's on par? Do you think it's the best one? Do you think it's the second best? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of my review of the Lego Batman movie. Let me know what you thought of the Lego Batman movie as a film in the comments. And let me know if you're hyped for the Lego movie too. And I'll see you next week for my review of the Lego Ninjago movie. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.